They said to us that demonstrations, we are progressive, we are positive, we want to build, not to demolish and destroy. Therefore, with all due respect to scholars who say it is Islamic, it is not Islamic. This is the fatwa of Sheikh bin Baz, one of the greatest scholars of recent times, who died. The fatwa of Ibn Uthaymeen, the fatwa of all our scholars of the permanent committee of grand muftis. And one says, "Ah, Sheikh, they're all Saudis. They're afraid if they say something else, they'll put them in jail." This is a possibility. But these scholars that I have, nowadays it might be correct. The scholars I spoke about, bin Baz, bin Uthaymeen, they had no problem at all. People who lived poor, though the oil fields were pouring to them and they would not take a single penny. Yani, okay, Syeikh Asim is pro-government. And we can tell, he goes every year to Côte d'Azur, and Nice, he goes to Hawaii, he's using money, he's living his life. When you have someone like Sheikh bin Baz, who died when he's approximately 90 years of age, not a single day off, while in office for more than 50 years, not a single day vacation, no real estate, not lavishing car. His thobe is never iron as this. I don't wear thobes except when they're ironed. All Saudis do this. All of you. But his thobe, if you see him in person, he doesn't care how he looks. The way he puts this, it is so, and the way he sits, not like a king, like a Bedouin. And he was monitored by us 24/7. We know what he does, we know how he speaks, we know where he goes, and he never changed. Never ever his paycheck would remain in his possession for more than 10 days. The whole salary would go in giving to children and to giving to the poor and those who write to him, whether in Indonesia or in Morocco or in Mali or in Senegal. And ask people and they tell you, yes, we wrote to him, he sent us 5,000 riyals. The guy was so real. It brings sadness to my heart to see such a scholar of, like the companions' time. I used to call him every single night. He doesn't know me. But at the time, we did not have pagers, mobile phones, not even faxes. We had telephones, with the children now said, "What is this? Are you cooking soup?" No, this is how we used to call them. And we had telex. That's it, the telex, the one with the yellow. This is the only thing. I used to call him every single night between Maghrib and Isha. He used to answer the phone. No redials. Seriously, it is a headache because the whole world, not actually the whole world, Saudi Arabia was calling him. He's the Grand Mufti. And luckily, no internet, so people in faraway places cannot access him. And whenever he picks up the phone, he had two phones, two numbers. So whenever he's answering and the other phone rings, his personal assistant lifts it and says, "Okay, 1 second. I can hear him answer the questions." And then when he hangs up, from the time he hangs up till the PA gives him the telephone, wallahi, I hear him say, "Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, Allah Akbar, la ilaha illallah, Akbar." Naam. The king goes to Ibn Uthaymeen in his house. He finds it a normal house, hut, normal, no marbles, no chandeliers. He said, "I'd like to build you a new house." He said, "No, I'm happy." He said, "No, I have to do this. He's the king coming to visit me." He said, "If you insist, build me a new masjid," his old masjid, make it new, and build a whole building of a number of stories. This will become for the foreign students to come and live. I feed them, I give them shelter, and I teach them. And his home was as it is. Whenever he went from his home to the masjid, following the sunnah, he used to go barefooted, sometimes, not wearing shoes. And his thobe, his wutra, you think that he's a beggar. Wallah, I sat with him a number of times. You look at him, he's, mashallah, Malay size, MashaAllah. But you look at him, you think he's a beggar. He cannot be a sheikh. Just wait until he opens his mouth. Then you see the knowledge coming from Quran, from Sunnah, from fiqh, from Arabic, from stories, from history, from subhanallah, like an ocean without any coast. These scholars were, the rulers were afraid of them. Because they don't want dunya. How can you intimidate them? They're not afraid. How can you buy them? They cannot be bought.